Hi, I'm Ryan Szymanski, curator for Battleship New Jersey Museum and Memorial. And today we've got a short video about one of the macro artifacts lying around the museum. In today's video, we're going to be talking about the dehumidifying machines. There were 5 of these machines loaded into the ship the last time she was mothballed. And it seems like, as part of the mothballing process, they basically dropped them down a ladder well and then welded them to the deck, because we've been able to find at the base of the ladder wells 4 tab marks where these would have been welded down in a series of places that are remarkably similar in dimension to the base of these machines. So when the museum opens to the public, our volunteers go around and they cut them all off, cut those tabs flush with the tile deck, and move these into off of the tore out spaces, which is how 2 of the forward ones end up here in the anchor windlass room. These 5 dehumidification machines, like I said earlier, they're not original ship's equipment. They are part of the mothballing process. So they're installed when the ship is decommissioned to keep the humidity levels in the ship down. Ships operate in a moist, damp environment, and moisture and liquids tend to increase the corrosion on steel vessels. So that's pretty bad. So with Navy ships that are being stored in an unmanned condition, where you don't have guys going through constantly painting and oiling and things like that, you need some way to keep those parts from rusting. So in addition to the crew painting everything before the ship is decommissioned and smothering everything in preservative greases like cosmoline, things that are bare metal and not painted get covered in grease. Things that don't move essentially get covered in paint. It's that simple. But over the period of time that ships might be in mothballs, keep in mind Missoura's in mothballs more than 30 years, when she's decommissioned in 1955 and when she's reactivated in 1986. So over that period of time, the paint is going to wear out. You're going to start to see corrosion. So things like this help prevent that. So with just 5 of these machines, they are able to dehumidify basically the entire inside of the ship. They do that by cutting small manholes in some of the bulkheads that are only accessible from the main deck. So for example, the forward spaces here, like the sand locker or the bosun's locker here on second deck, are trunks that are only accessible from a hatch on the main deck. Well, that's not acceptable because all of the exterior hatches, except for the one in the wardroom, are sealed as part of the dehumidification process. So they cut holes through those normally watertight trunks from a space like this one up to there so that you can run those dehumidification hoses. You've seen them before. It's these flexible hoses that snake all over the ship. We still have them everywhere. These are referred to by shipyard employees as sucker tubes. And they're doing a couple of things. The ones that run down into the hatches are sucking the moist, damp air from down there up to these machines, which have desiccant packs in them. So it's running the air over those desiccant packs to help dry it out, through the warm machine to help dry it out, and then recycling that air back into the ship. It's also sucking in recirculation air over the desiccant packs to help keep it dry so the desiccant doesn't get saturated and become useless that quickly. Remember, these are being turned on and left on for long periods of time potentially, and the folks doing the maintenance of these ships while they're in mothballs aren't able to check them daily. I don't know what the cycle is for checking them, but it's not like there's somebody constantly with these machines. They might only be inspected once a week or a month or something like that. I'm not entirely sure. We've become interested in these systems again because we had water inside the ship. When we ballasted the ship to go to dry dock, we put water in a lot of our tanks. Even our tanks would have had either desiccant pucks in them, these big silver things that we've showed you before, or they would have had hoses from these running down to them. Now, we've stripped those tanks as low as we can get them pumping the water out after dry docking. But most of the tanks come to a point like this, and we just couldn't get the hose in the last inch or two of water. So we've gotten one of these machines reactivated. Unfortunately, some of them were partially disassembled to be moved from where they were to these off the tore out spaces like here. But this one up forward was intact enough that one of our electrician volunteers was able to look at it and put power to it, which was no simple task because originally these were wired in a couple different places. It was wired in to a sensor down in the space, like that could sense the humidity. It was wired into the alarm panel on the aft quarterdeck that we've showed you in a previous video. And the machine would have been hardwired to get its power into one of the fuse boxes nearest to it in the space where we're supposed to be. These use 440 volts, so it's not like we can just plug it into any wall outlet on the ship. The problem is many of the free 440 volt outlets we have run leads for our welding equipment from. So the power going up to our welders that we've been using, say, on the main deck when we were redecking up there, are wired into the box where this should be wired into. That's what this black cable is. Notice the original shipboard cables are painted. This is welding stuff that we put in a couple years ago. So we still use those welders. We don't want to unwire that to put this back where it goes. So came up with a novel solution. In this space, there are two 440 volt marine outlets. Now, let me show you on the one that's missing its switch here. Oh, come on. Notice it's got a specific type of got a waterproof plug that can fit in there. But these are primarily for submersible pumps. You can plug them into a trunk, say like this one, that runs down 7 stories and accesses a series of tanks down there, like the sorts of spaces we might want to dehumidify. So all we had to do was find a 440 marine plug that would go into there to put on the end of our power cable here. So we were able to do that. We were able to go through and find the fuses to get this reactivated, make sure this system was functioning again. Interestingly, you see that there's 2 side by side here. Each one's fed from a separate fuse panel. This one is fed from down near turret 2, so it's down 1 deck and aft something like 200 feet from here. This one, I don't remember where it was, but it's not in the same place. They are specifically separate on the ship, so if there's some sort of electrical failure and something gets knocked out, one of these outlets will go down, the other one will still be good. On the other side of the door here are a couple more outlets fed from another location, and so we've been able to find one that we were able to find the fuses for, get it switched off, get it working again. So now we're going to be able to start running these flexible hoses down to those spaces, and since it was volunteer labor that got this fixed again, and it'll be volunteer labor that runs this, we're not introducing additional costs to this completed dry dock project to dehumidify the last little bit of moisture out of these tanks. Here's some footage of the machine running. We did not do this while we were talking because it's kind of loud on the microphone. On this channel, we've gotten to show you a lot of original ship systems we've gotten running again, and this kind of ancillary system, not technically a ship system, but you know what I mean. Which one is your favorite? My personal favorite that we've gotten running again is the ship's windlass, which again, another volunteer project that we got functioning for dry dock to help us with mooring lines and things like that. But let us know which one you've liked seeing us get reactivated or just found already working again, like the shell hoists, in the comment section down below. Battleship New Jersey receives operating support from the New Jersey Department of State, also from a number of other businesses and private individuals like yourselves. We really appreciate the support, and there's a link in the description below if you'd like to donate to continue supporting us. Your donations go towards the supplies that the volunteers use to help restore the ship and her systems. You can also support us by liking, sharing, and subscribing so more people find about us and the channel. Thanks for watching.